Many comic writers have tried to write female characters, but in my opinion, none have come close to Chris Claremont writing Storm. Storm's been through it all. She's gone from the claustrophobic orphan to the mutant goddess and then leader of the X-Men. She lost her powers and still defeated Cyclops in a 1v1. Oftentimes, female characters can be written as the one who needs saving and can't do things on their own, but never with Storm. From her first appearance, she's seen being worshipped as a deity for her ability to control the elements and bring rain to the drier places of Africa. And her appearance only adds to this. Her long white hair and blue eyes only add to Storm as the majestic, respected character she is. And when she joins the X-Men, this doesn't change. She's still revered as the beautiful, fearless goddess that she was back in her home country. To me, it feels like Claremont has an immense respect and love for Storm's character, and makes sure everyone else he's writing in his book does too. And I think he does a great job of making sure she's not this perfect, flawless character, because Storm has definitely had some darker moments. For example, when she stabbed Callisto to usurp the Morlocks and free Kitty, which eventually led to them being left in the sewers and a lot of them being killed in the Mutant Massacre event, or the time she took leadership of the X-Men from Cyclops in one of his darkest times. I think there's a ton of reasons as to why Storm is the greatest female Marvel character. The dynamics she shares with some of the other X-Men, such as Kitty and their sisterly relationship, which is one of Marvel's most beloved dynamics, even if it's not as apparent in the modern day of comics. Her close bond with Logan and the deep mutual trust and respect these two friends have for each other, and my personal favourite, which is her relationship with Rogue. When Rogue first joined the X-Men, Storm was very wary due to her past, but Storm actually ended up being the one who helped Rogue settle into the team. Storm first appeared alongside a bunch of the new X-Men in the Giant Size X-Men issue when she is recruited by Professor X for his new mutant dream, and across Claremont's run she's evolved and changed so many times. I'd say the first major event for Storm in the Claremont run was definitely the duel with Callisto in the sewers, where she stabs her and establishes herself as a warrior rather than a serene, calm goddess and takes leadership of the Morlocks. A few issues later, we get Storm's iconic look when she cuts off her white hair to don her new mohawk, influenced by her time in Japan with her friend Yukio, which symbolized the shift in Storm's character. And at the time, this new look with the black leather and the mohawk was a very heavy subtext for Storm's bisexuality, but we were in a time where editors made sure it was only ever male and female relationships in the books. Now, while Claremont's representation of Storm's bisexuality is pretty subtle and had to be laid through subtext, in later modern eras, writers have confirmed that Storm is openly bisexual and that's now a part of her character. I think for a period, Claremont definitely wanted Storm to be the main character, because it's almost like every story for a certain period of time around the 80s was around her, because only a couple issues later is when Storm loses her powers when Gyrick shoots an anti-mutant device created by Forge, aimed to actually hit Rogue, but ends up striking Storm and she loses her powers, which is arguably her most iconic arc ever and led to some amazing development of Storm's character. Sometimes when characters lose their powers, they'll just get written out of the book for a while. For example, Banshee. But Claremont just used this to make Storm into an even better character. Storm losing her powers leads to us getting the start of the emotional but nuanced relationship as Storm falls in love with the man who created the weapon which stripped her of her powers. Her relationship with Forge is probably not her most iconic relationship, that's probably T'Challa, but if you are asking me, I prefer her relationship with Forge over T'Challa because of the nuance of him being the man that took her powers away from her, essentially. Claremont made sure that even a powerless Storm was badass. In issue 201, she has a 1v1 with Cyclops in the Danger Room to see who leads the X-Men, and she ends up defeating him with his powers by knocking him out and taking off his visor in his darkest time. Again, Storm being ruthless, she's now the leader of a team of superpowered heroes when she's the only powerless one. Throughout the rest of the run though, Storm remains a crucial figure as the leader of the X-Men, but when it hit the 90s and Claremont departs from the book, she does lose a bit of relevancy, to be honest, with the growing cast of X-Men and characters like Gambit and Rogue taking more of the spotlight. Now, Marvel does have some amazing female characters, but in my opinion, maybe I'm biased as an X-Men fan, I really don't feel like anyone comes close to writing Storm, but I'm talking specifically Chris Claremont's Storm, because I feel like in the modern era, yes, she's still a great character, but she doesn't have that same respect that Claremont had for her writing back in the 80s. I think my favorite part about Claremont's writing for Storm is that he constantly allows her to evolve and not stay stagnant as a character, whilst maintaining the core principles of what makes her such a great character. If you enjoyed, if you took anything away from this video, like, subscribe, comment, it means the world, and the support has been great recently, so thank you. I'll be back next week.